Okay, yeah.
All right.
Not one real camera.
Okay.
What?
Sean Campbell.
Sean Campbell, Arcata Fire District.
Okay.
I'm a battalion chief. Today we were dispatched to an unusual incident. We had first an assault medical aid come in with staging required. We received reports that it was either a gunshot wound or an assault with a stick or a bat or something along that line. So we knew the Humboldt County Sheriff's was also in the area attempting to clear the scene for our personnel to come in. A couple minutes later, we received a report of a structure fire near where the assault was reported. It didn't have an exact location. We had multiple callers, so it sounded like a confirmed structure fire. A few minutes after that, the report came back that it was a vegetation fire. So we had our unit stage until I could go into the scene and determine what exactly we had and where we needed to send our resources. Once I got there, I met with Fish and Game and Humboldt County Sheriffs who were searching the area. They had a report that the suspect had fled the scene, was on foot or on bike. So we sent our first engine into the medical aid, and I was able to locate where the fire was, which was not in its initial described location. I walked into the scene, I found structure was on fire. It wasn't a vegetation fire near a homeless encampment. So we sent additional units to that location to try and go in and begin fire control. Kind of an unusual circumstance, again, with the structure fire being in a location that there's no road to the building itself. It was accessed through trails. It's more of an elaborate homeless encampment. An actual wood structure was there. A few minutes after crews began their fire attack, we had a report that there were 2 children inside the structure. So that became our primary objective, is to try and find those 2 missing children.
Did you find those children?
They were not confirmed to be in the structure. We still have not located their whereabouts. So the Humboldt County Sheriff is working to locate the children's location with the mother. So
they were definitely not in the structure.
The crews have done a primary and a secondary search, which means they did their quick search and then they've gone through all the debris and did not find anybody in the structure. So at this time we believe the structure to be unoccupied, which is good news.
Nobody hurt.
Correct. So once the crews were able to complete those searches and determine that no one was in there, they just worked towards containing the fire in the structure and limiting the spread to the vegetation. It looks like it's about maybe 1/8 of an acre surrounding the structure that burned, mostly grass and vegetation. Other than that, it looks like everyone's going to go home safe today.
You may have said this. Were you able to contact the occupant of that structure?
The reported occupant was here at the scene and was talking with Humboldt County Sheriff deputies. Okay. They were trying to determine when the kids were supposed to be there, where they may else be, and she ended up leaving the scene and searching other buildings where the kids may have gone to. And as far as I know, they have not located the kids yet, so they're still working on trying to find out where they are.
The report of shots fired. Any more details on it?
I don't have
accurate?
any reports on where that ended up going. We did receive information from our engine that was sent to that scene that it was not as reported, that there was not a medical aid at that location. So right now we're working towards identifying what the cause of this fire was. Definitely suspicious in nature with the overall circumstances that occurred.
A resident here said there may have been some canisters exploding. Did you find anything?
That's pretty standard in a structure fire. I mean, any aerosol can or propane tank is going to explode, so that wouldn't be abnormal, but we don't have any indication that it would be tied to the cause of the fire at this point.
Any idea what that structure was?
No, I have no idea. I didn't know it was there.
It seemed pretty elaborate.
Pretty elaborate for
good landscaping, some succulents.
Had a front door on it, so someone put some work into it.
Yeah.
I don't know who owns the property. I don't know how many people live there, so we're still trying to put all that together.
Have you guys been called to this particular camp before?
No, I was not aware this camp was here.
Okay.
A very elaborate camp. It's clean, it's organized, and obviously expanding into structures. So.
And the gentleman that was there with the dog, was he anything to do with this?
So he was here first. Obviously, we're going to check further into him, but he was here first, kind of pointing us into the scene. He was being cooperative, and I did speak with him. He didn't have any idea as to what the cause of the fire was, so we'll still follow up further with that, and we'll coordinate our efforts with the Humboldt County Sheriffs.
Seems like you guys are pretty much mopping up at this point. Do you have any idea how long until the road will be open again?
So we're looking at trying to reopen the road in the next 30 minutes, so we can get the inconvenience to our community members out of the way. But right now we just want to make sure the fire personnel are safe on scene, and obviously traffic creates an issue for us. people aren't paying attention because they're looking at where the fire was, and then next thing you know, someone's potentially getting run over. So we keep it closed. CHP's been great to work with on coordinating that road closure for us. They've got Caltrans coming out, so we'll set up a more permanent road control and traffic control through Caltrans.
A fire like this, very dangerous, could have spread very quickly. You guys got a pretty good handle on it, but you know, what could have happened? I mean, there's a lot of people back there. It looks like it is a homeless encampment. If this thing would have gotten out of control quickly.
Yeah, right now conditions are dry. I mean, thank goodness it's a high humidity day with fog. Otherwise, this could have easily spread to a multi-acre fire. A little bit of wind blowing. You know, we had some winds yesterday afternoon, so this same incident on a different day or a later time of the day could be a lot different. So we were fortunate today that no one was in the structure and the conditions were as they were, so that it limited the amount of spread to the vegetation. So really, it's a small incident, but obviously we need to find out now what the cause of the incident was and if it's tied to the potential assault. And you know, obviously we'll coordinate those efforts with the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office.
Anybody?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That was easy.